Well, it's certainly been an interesting episode. I have a feeling that we could be antagonistically talk for about a lot of interesting things.
Antagonistically, this is called an entertaining conversation.
They're all entertaining. I like those kind of conversations. I'm sure my wife is listening somewhere, going, Did you just yell at him the whole time?" And I didn't. I didn't yell. That's all on this end. Like, I'm a crazy person that watches people on the internet, and I yell, "God, you're missing this. What you forgot all about that." So I talk to myself a lot, and she assumes that I'm going to do that with people on the internet, as opposed to like, try and have a normal, nuanced conversation about where we can find common ground and ways that we can help other people do stuff. So I've had a lot of fun today, to be completely honest. So, um, where can we send people to get them to check out your books, learn more about you, and all that?
So I do have a WordPress, jameskrake.com. It's my name. The link should be in the description. You can find my epic fantasy over on Royal Road, which that's a horrifically long link. Good luck with that. You can find it on my website. My Twitter handle is @KrakeJames. I had to reverse it because someone has a defunct Twitter handle of my name. So that's yeah. And obviously my YouTube channel @JamesKrake.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, James. Hopefully, get some people to go out and take a look at your books, buy them, buy all of them.
That was very nice. Leave reviews. Tell friends. Leave them in strange places for other people to find.
Do the manga thing, right?
Make memes.
Actually, here I'm going to ask a really pointed question. What is the thing that you would most like someone to do after they've read a book of yours?
Well, the generic answer is leave a review on Amazon because I need to get to 50 reviews and the algorithm changes. Books with more than, or maybe they've changed it because we figured it out, but you need to hit a review threshold for you to actually get promoted. But honestly, I want to see what I want to see is people like aspiring artists that aren't the kind of people that are still getting their feet wet and getting good at the craft. Instead of making fan art about Marvel characters or whatever, I want to see them. Maybe not as obviously I prefer mine, but this is a generic thing I'd like to see is fan art of indie works. Because that's how you build a community outside of the entrenched IPs.
I'm a big fan of like writers doing like character art contests and things like that. Like, hey, I just want to see what you guys think so and so looks like in this book. Like, what is the image in your head? If for no other reason than as a creator myself, like it fascinates me. What are the ideas that I put out there put into other people's heads? What is the wave that sends out? So awesome. Well, folks, go out, read his books, and then draw some pictures, and tell them what you think of them.
I do actually have an open invite. If someone reads my book and wants to tell me to my face how it's bad, they can come on my stream and do so.
If I think it's bad, I'll tell you it's bad. Just so we're clear. I won't
Yeah,
probably
you have to go read it, man. Come on.
it's on the list.
I don't even charge for most of my writing.
Yeah, but I have the ones that I want to read, and you do charge for them.
Yes, because those are the better ones.
I hate to drag on. How much of like what you do you feel like should be lost? Is that the only reason? Is because you just don't feel like things are good enough to charge for that you do have them, or?
So I can actually be very clear with how I view my free stuff versus the stuff I charge for. What I put on Royal Road, which is my epic fantasy story, The Undying Emperor, a story of a literal who to conquer the entire world with no steps skip. I do not cheat. He is going to rise through every rank and conquer every territory. He is actually going to conquer the world. So I don't think anyone has ever legitimately written that story before.
That sounds so long and boring.
It is web novels. Okay, it's not boring. Fuck you.
I'm saying that as a guy who just said I hate Wheel of Time and George R. Martin because it sounds too much like those things.
You should actually look at how I broke it up, because I'm breaking it up as like basically each region he goes to and fights in is one contained standalone book essentially, and they're just sequentially stacked. So like the first act, or act one, I should say, not the first act, is the same length as Infinite Money Glitch. And it is a Civil War plotline where the main character steals the identity of a nobleman, steals his place in the army, and leads it to success. And then says, "Yes, I am Lucius von Salhart. Look, I just proved it by saving everyone." Wink, wink. And that should be a fully satisfying story by itself. And then it gets followed up with, and this is when he goes to the king and gets his appointment to the colony over here. And then, oh, he's now ruling this colony and he has to track down the demon that's screwing it up and such. They are self contained stories. And it's just every time, after every adventure, he gets a bit more status, a bit more power, a bit more reach, a larger army, etc.
So you're doing this like Dungeons and Dragons style where it's like, level up each book.
Well, the term is progression fantasy, and basically.
Well, for those of you into progression fantasy, it sounds like we got another winner for you.
Yeah, but the difference is that stuff that I put up for free, I don't edit. That's the first draft that you're reading. And it is, I publish week by week the chapters. So sometimes the pacing gets off. Sometimes plot lines get forgotten. Like I've actually forgotten characters from earlier in the book. I've been doing this for, I've been writing this story for 3 years. I have to go back digging sometimes.
So it sounds like this is almost like your newsletter. Like it's like the thing that you do that's kind of like, so you always have a steady stream of content going out.
Yeah, I have on average 1,400 people reading every chapter. They won't convert to science fiction though. It drives me crazy.
Who are the people that's like? Who are the people that actually made Hollywood take notice because of how powerful a block there? It's the Lord of the Rings people, because they're the people that actually do still read books and they care about that stuff. So I mean, it's that audience is that audience. I think with science fiction, one of the things you're always going to kind of run into is that it is as cool as whales like me are that like reading shit like Snow Crash. The bottom line is that stuff is so visually interesting. Like there's a lot that you could have when you're visualizing. And so like I think people tend to go that way.
No, I actually think it's the other way around. Most science fiction is either complete aesthetic nonsense if you actually get into it with an engineering mindset, or it's grunge. And a proper fantasy should be 1,000 times more visually stimulating than science fiction. Like Avatar, for example, as just like the poster child of shockingly beautiful science fiction. There's no reason that couldn't be a fantasy.
I thought it was fantasy. It's just not, to me. It misses a lot of the criteria of what science fiction's supposed to be. I'm very particular about what we call science fiction. So, but I don't need to drag you through that gamut.
It shows like Wheel of Time and The Witcher, where it's just like every scene is a dirty forest that make you think fantasy isn't visually interesting. But anyways, just to finish the point, my science fiction gets beta readers, it gets multiple rewrites. I get it as a complete product and let it sit and I review it. I definitely put more thought into why do people want to read this story. For example, Infinite Money Glitch. Why do you want to read this? Because you, like me, probably lost a lot of money in the GameStop short squeeze fiasco, and I'm still mad about that. So I wrote an entire book about it, and it's funny, by the way.
No, I learned about Austrian economics a long time ago and didn't buy into that fiasco, knowing what would end up happening.
I was talking to the viewer. But yeah, so the books I put on Amazon get a lot more polish, a lot more work, and they come up to a higher standard. So that's the I give away what I'm just having fun with. Like I have an entire act in my in Undying Emperor that isn't even about Lucius. I wanted to write an epistolary horror story about what some of the other characters were doing, behind the scenes. And so I have a 20,000 word novella in there in a completely different style, but completely different characters. It's just the same world, and it's written in a completely different tone. And I think it's the best thing I have in the web novel. And people are just kind of like okay with it because I give it away.